nice additional piece to your pistol if you were so inclined. With a semi, it's a speedy little round. So I know Box hates the round. I'm not a massive fan of it, but I think it's doable. I think it's capable. The other cool thing about this is you can throw like a suppressor on it. It does have a threaded barrel. So a lot of the videos, reviews that I was watching, they actually had suppressors on them too. So that's kind of neat as well. But yeah, overall, I mean, nothing super astounding or anything, but just another carbine option for you if you were into the 5.7 round.
I'm kind of curious about how it runs with that length of barrel. I know they've been doing it for years and years, but I guess I've never looked into how it performs in a 16-inch barrel. That's got to be getting close to too long for it, doesn't it?
No, I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so because, like you said, they've been doing it for a long time, and a lot of companies are actually, especially in the last 2 years, putting out 5.7 rifles.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you're probably getting a lot better speed out of it, actually, or a decent. I don't know if a lot better, but you definitely going to get better speed out of it than out of a pistol.
Maybe a couple
And-
hundred more feet per second, but yeah, I guess
Right.
yeah, they're probably pushing it though. It's getting right. It couldn't be much longer than that before you're going to start slowing it down again, I think.
The other cool thing about this is, and one of the reasons why guys use the 5.7 is you're not getting barely any recoil on this. So you can keep putting rounds on target and you're not bouncing all over the place. That was one of the biggest things about this particular round, and the FN 2000s. People buy those, and obviously, you can only get the semi version where you're like, well, what the hell is the point of it? Because the 5.7 that was designed to be like a swarm with a fully auto, and that was the allure of that particular gun and that particular round. But when you think about it, stop to think about it, something like this, you can shoot extremely fast still on target, and it's not obviously fully auto, so you're not getting all the benefits of that round of what exactly it was designed for. But recoil is certainly almost non-existent, it seems like. So definitely on target with a large amount of rounds. So that's something else to think about as well.
I didn't realize the P90 was 16 inches. I was thinking it was shorter than that. Maybe that's just because it's just not all sticking out in front of it. Huh. I wouldn't have guessed that, I guess. Plus, I didn't think that was the main model of that either.
Oh yeah, what did I say? The FN
2000 or something like that.
Yeah, that's not it. The P90, yeah. But actually, yeah, I had one in the shop the other day that was a 16-inch version. It was getting SBR'd, so I had to engrave it. And they're fugly.
I think they're fucking goofy.
They're fugly anyways, but it's extra fugly when you got that 16-inch barrel hanging off the front. It's like real goofy looking that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other thoughts?
No, I mean it's
Did you say what the price was? To be honest, I kind of blacked out for like the first little bit of your introduction there. So.
That doesn't surprise me. MSRP is about $980, so you're probably going to be seeing it around $850 to $900.
That's not that bad,
depending on the retailer.
Pretty cheap, actually.
No. Also adjustable stock and 20-round magazine.
If you bite your tongue, I'll have Zuck come get you again, bud. I guess you can move on to your next topic. Didn't we? I thought this has been released. I could have swore this is one of those topics that just keeps popping up where you're always like, we should talk about this. We should talk about this. Mm-hmm. I don't know if have we talked about it before. I didn't find it in any of our titles or anything like that. So I don't know if we've covered it or not.
We talked about the JAKL fairly extensively on this podcast, but it would never, every time we talked about it, it wasn't out. And I believe it came out actually several months ago. And and we had actually never said that it came out. So I just wanted to do a quick PSA. See what I did there? That PSA finally does have their JAKL out. Right now, the only thing they got out is the 5.56 pistol version of it. I believe they are doing the 300 blackout version as well sometime down the road. Who the hell knows? But they're selling full guns right now, and they are in stock as of right now on Palmetto State Armory. The full guns are running $10.99, and then you can also buy either just the lowers or just the uppers. Just the uppers are running at $650. Lowers are running at $350. But if you don't know what this is, it is basically Palmetto State's version of the BRN 180. I mean, it's a completely different setup, but this is a long stroke pistol system. They're kind of combined, like it's almost a, you know, AK-ish combined with an AR. So they got the whole buffer system and everything retained in the upper. So you don't have to have a buffer tube on this. So you can your stock, you can actually fold it and you can actually shoot it while it is folded. Obviously, if you guys are familiar with in the AR platform, you cannot do that on a typical AR-15 platform, direct impingement anyways. So this is kind of just another cool option out there. It's not ergonomically, it's not the best looking gun that I've ever seen, but it serves a purpose. Like I said, you can get one for $10.99. That's the entire gun. It is a braced pistol. And then the thing that I was slightly disappointed with, they are selling the uppers that just go on mil-spec lowers, but you can't just take it and put it on any old mil-spec lower. There are some slight differences. The number one difference is the bolt catch on a normal AR lower will not work. You have to actually swap it out. So all the lowers, they actually sell with a different bolt catch on there. And then the other thing, and I'm not completely positive about how this exactly works, but they say that you have to have Palmetto State's what are they saying with that? There's a Picatinny rail on the back that the brace attaches to, that screws into the buffer tube area of the lower, and they're saying that you have to have that as well. I don't know if it's a necessity, but they are saying you have to have that. So it's kind of a disappointment that you can't just buy it and throw it on any old lower and make it work. That's a possibility. Maybe you can, I don't know. And they're just covering their ass and they want you to buy extra shit. But I was kind of slightly disappointed in that. Time will tell, I guess, if you actually can do that. But just another option. I've been saying this for years. I love these types of options. I think the AR platform is headed that way. Getting rid of the actual buffer tube and just using these, you can folded stocks on them. So much handier. But I was glad to see that this, like I said, this has been a couple months ago, it finally came out. But Fox, what's your whole opinion on the JAKL?
I can't say I really have any. What were you saying about it looking not very ergonomic? It's what I didn't understand.
I don't like the looks of it. It's a big bulky upper, and I don't think it's that attractive. The upper it just looks massive compared to the lower, in my opinion. I mean, it's not horrible. It does, it looks okay. It's just not a firearm that I look at and I get like aroused by or anything, Just my 2 cents on it.
You're all about looks, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah, plays a big role in my guns that I want. Yeah,
clearly. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the bufferless style. I honestly haven't shot one yet, so I can't really have an opinion on it. But yeah, I'm more about finding out how they run rather than it's got an ugly upper. I guess. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't have.
well,
If it runs,
yeah,
sure, it's got its place, but
right. And this is we like I said, we've been covering this for a while, and this was actually came out two years ago at SHOT Show.
I was
It was
trying to
announced
find. I was
at
trying to
least
find
2
those
years
videos.
ago. And they said it was coming out that summer, and then COVID hit and all that bullshit, and it never did until just a couple months ago. So I thought it would be a. The other thing is, this is like, it's a cheaper version of right now. Like I would say, the leader of the pack for AR style guns that have a folding stock on them would be like the SIG MCX. Is it MPX or MCX? I don't remember which one of those it is. That is kind of like the leader. It's an excellent weapons platform, but it's also a couple $1,000s to get your hands on one of those. And then you got the BRN 180 just for the upper on that, and you have to have a lower, that it will accept it. You're looking at $900 just for the upper on something like that. So this is kind of the little bit lower end platform, get you into something like this, get you, at least you have something like this now. So I think it's a good thing overall for the industry. And I hope that everybody keeps moving towards that goal of, or not the goal, but keeps moving towards that bufferless AR systems. I think it's where the future of this weapons platform is at, honestly.
Bufferless? Why?
Because it collapses down. It's like buffers are such a pain in the ass. Like you can, it's nice to have one that folds up. You can whip it out of your car or your truck, and you can have it tight and everything. Where you have that extended stock on the damn thing, it's a little bit harder to work around shit and stuff. I just think they're a lot more. They're just a better overall system for a lot of the stuff that guys want to use them for. That's just my 2 cents on it, my personal opinion.
Interesting thoughts.
I've been saying that for a long time, man. That's my thoughts on it. Because that is the one benefit. Well, not the one benefit, but one of the biggest benefits that the AK platform has on the AR platform is you can fold the stock and you can shoot it folded. Whereas, an actual AR platform, you cannot do that. And that's one of the biggest drawbacks of the AR platform, I think.
Yeah, but ARs are also some of the smoothest running fucking rifles out there. And it's because of that system.
Well, go shoot a
then you're
SIG
taking
MPX
away that system.
Go shoot a SIG MPX or something like that. That's a damn nice shooting system too. But like I said, this is just my personal opinion. There are probably other people that are gonna, share the complete opposite viewpoint than I do. But
no, they all have their place. Is I don't think there's one right or wrong, which is like, I don't know, maybe I misunderstood what you were saying, but you're saying we need to start going towards the bufferless. I disagree with that. They each have their place.
Yeah. Well, maybe, but if you can combine the best of both worlds, as like the SIG MPX is, that is a damn nice shooting gun, and it has a little bit of the best of both worlds on it. So if you get it in a weapons platform that runs smooth, is reliable, and then you get the best of both worlds on it, why not?
Josh says, yeah, but are you going to hit basically anything with a folded AK? Not really.
If you shoot it just right, you got to get it up there like this and do the whole freaking AK screeching. I don't know. That's just
Slav squat.
Yeah. Gene says it's a bit boxy. See, he knows what I'm talking about. Josh, did I say the price on that? The actual gun is $10.99. You can get the uppers for $6.50. So that kind of gives you an idea of what it is.
Okay. Well, where did my are we done?
I I guess you don't have anything else to say about that one.
Not really. I mean, we could probably argue a little bit more if you wanted.
We're good at that. I think you should have taken a shot before this podcast, Box. You're definitely taking a shot before the next podcast tomorrow night.
Why?
Because you're just kind of really bleh.
Well, I just don't care about Buttercup. I'm sorry. I just don't give a fuck about these guns. I'm sorry. I put all my effort into this podcast onto the news segment, not these guns. This was your deal.
Okay. All right, fine. Let's move it along then. Move it or lose it, sister.
And I started drinking earlier too, so to loosen up for the podcast. So now I'm almost gone. God damn it. Okay, news.
I don't hear anything.
What'd you say?
I said, I hope the music is playing because we're both just staring at each other.
Yeah, I was playing. There was also something on the screen. Calm down. I know what I'm doing, Sam. I'm a professional. I would never screw anything with this broadcast up, ever.
Okay.
So, do you want to start off the news?
I think you better. Box.
Well,
come on, show us some enthusiasm. Let's go.
I don't have anything to say about. I don't know shit about the partial injunction.
Oh yeah, that's nothing super exciting. But I felt like it was newsworthy. So obviously there are a lot of cases going on, with the ATF being sued over this new frame and receiver rule. There are some that did not go our way. But there are a few, or at least one right now. I believe this is filed down in Texas. I think maybe it was for tactical machining or something like that. They're the defendants in it. As far as with who's the gun rights group that's helping them? Firearms Policy Coalition. So what is going on there? They were suing the ATF over this new rule, and actually an injunction was granted, which is, it's rare that an injunction is granted, but this is only a partial injunction, which means that this only pertains to the defendant to the plaintiff in this particular case. So this isn't nationwide or anything yet, but this is a very good sign, because it means that the judge thinks that they have reasonable cause to be bringing their case, and that they also have a very good chance that they're going to succeed. So this is a very good thing. And hopefully the judge also wrote like a scathing review of what the ATF has been doing. He said this is completely unconstitutional. So there's good reason to think that this case may possibly go our way, and hopefully a nationwide injunction will be thrown at the ATF over this. Keep your fingers crossed. Be giving your money to Firearms Policy Coalition and the other people that are in the trenches litigating this stuff. So just a quick update on that. So hopefully we hear some more good news on that before too terrible long.
When I was looking into this, something came across my mind, and I don't want this to go into a big discussion or anything. We got only a limited amount of time, but I was thinking, we see bills like this one rammed through into law within a matter of weeks or months. In this case, what was it? A few weeks, just pushed through. And then there ends up being tons of cases fighting it. And then ultimately it'll get pushed up to the Supreme Court, kind of like the Bruin decision. And then ultimately get knocked down after, probably in a lot of cases, irreparable harm and damage has been done. Mm-hmm. So shouldn't we be vetting these bills, the legality of these bills, before we sign them into law, instead of wasting all this time and resources and shit fighting this stuff only to realize, oh yeah, we were wrong 25 years ago when we signed that in.
Well, first off, I would agree with your statement, and I think a lot of people that pass these bills know that they're ultimately unconstitutional, but they don't give a shit because they know that it's going to hurt the firearms industry. So, and the Second Amendment, so they go ahead and do it anyway. But this particular one that we're talking about, Box, remember, that's not the bill. This is the ATF frame and receiver rule that I was talking about.
Right.
And that's no bill or anything. That's just the ATF pulling their unconstitutional bullshit.
Well,
but in that same line of thinking, I would agree with you. I think ultimately the ATF doesn't give a fuck whether it's actually constitutional or not. They're just going to push it because they know that their lawyers can hold people off and litigate this fucking nonsense into oblivion for years before an actual injunction does get put into place. If you look at New York City's, the Bruin decision that you mentioned just a little bit ago, that fucking bullshit had been in place. The law that decision was about, that bullshit had been in place for over 100 fucking years, and New Yorkers had been under that absolute unconstitutional nonsense for that fucking long, because this shit takes that ridiculously long. So I think ultimately, as far as when you're talking about bills being passed and such, yes, they absolutely fucking should have a litmus test. Hey, is this even close to constitutional? Well, fuck no. Well, okay, but who is the ultimate decider on bullshit on stuff like that? Ultimately, the people need to be, and if the people keep sitting down and taking this absolute bullshit like we do constantly, this shit's going to keep happening. I think it's the only way to stop this stuff from happening is going to be, I hate to say it, but going into the streets and, standing up for our rights. But whether that ever happens or not, I don't know.
It's bound to happen sometime. Whether it happens soon, we don't know.
Right. Anyways, sorry. Sam rant over for now.
Okay.
Until I get riled up again in the next segment.
He's even got to caress his sternum after that one. Wow.
Yeah. I'm ready for the next round. Let's go.
Don't hurt yourself. Okay, well, I guess we'll move on to my first topic of the night. 45 minutes into the show.
Jeez.
So it was a while back. There was some couriers, not a while, but maybe a month or two, a couple months. Some carriers, I don't know who it was. A smaller one was the first one to do it, to come out and say that they were going to stop shipping, I think, 80% receivers and shit like that. What just made a noise? Was that you? Oh, that was your... I wasn't watching. Okay. Thought one of my programs was quitting on me. But yeah, anyways, there was some... There's pushing from politicians to get the carriers like UPS and FedEx to do their part in taking care of this epidemic of gun violence and 80% receivers and shit like that. And most recently, UPS, they are now requiring online sellers to be able to, maybe you can explain how their program actually works a little bit better, Sam, because I'm not so sure on that. But to qualify or to use their second day air service that apparently a lot of firearm dealers do, you have to ship 350 handguns a week to use that service. Otherwise, you have to pay for their next day air service. And from what I saw, I just read the article on AmmoLand. It said handguns. I don't know why that doesn't translate to anything else, or if that's true, if it is just handguns. But I've thought that was interesting, to say the least. I can just about guarantee FedEx is probably going to follow suit with that. But I was wondering, I had a couple questions. One was, why just handguns? And two, if fewer guns is the reason, or is the ultimate goal and the answer, why would you let the largest suppliers of firearms slide on this? 350 guns a week, that's like 18,000 guns a year.
Yeah, it's absurd. Because they want to take a stance on it, but they want to keep money in their pocket. I guarantee that's what it is. And first off, let's the reason this happened is because a group of senators were pressuring all these shipping companies and sticking their grubby little dicks where they didn't belong. And they're under the premise for some reason that they think shippers are are contributing to gun violence, which is absolutely 100% not true and fucking absurd. I've shipped hundreds of guns over my business time, and I have yet to lose one single fucking gun. I'm not contributing to any of that. But as far as whether it's just handguns or rifles, they're different. There are different rules for shipping shit as far as handguns and pistols, or handguns and rifles, shotguns. A person can use USPS to ship a rifle or a shotgun, but they cannot use USPS to ship pistols. Only licensed dealers, FFLs, can use USPS. And then for some reason, everybody treats rifles and pistols completely different. Like there's something, I don't know. It's ridiculous. But as far as having to ship 350 guns a year or a week or whatever, like, I haven't heard anything about that, and I still use UPS to ship all of my guns. Essentially, I use USPS occasionally. In fact, I just shipped several this week with USPS. So I don't know why. I honestly don't know why they're doing that. Maybe they're also doing that because they were trying to combat the ghost gun epidemic. But they know that smaller companies are probably not, and smaller companies are mostly the ones other than P80 that are shipping that type of shit. So maybe they're trying to, honestly have no idea. I don't think that they probably have a legitimate reason themselves. I think that they don't understand the whole fucking situation. They don't know the gun laws. They don't know how shipping works. They don't know how the FFL system works. They don't understand anything. So they're just like, hey, let's put these orders in place, and we're going to do it this way just because Bob, who has never fucking shot a gun in his life, nor does he understand any of the laws, said that's the way that we should do it. So I don't know. It's a whole fucking clusterfuck. It's pretty ridiculous if you ask me. But
well,
up to this point, it hasn't changed anything in my circles.
Well, this article is from 5 days ago, so this is pretty new, and I don't know if it's actually. I have the letter is in this AmmoLand article here, but I'm not going to read that all to you. But you're saying you don't know why they were doing it. I'm going to say money. I was looking into it. UPS gets over $250 million in government subsidies a year.
I'm going
to go ahead and guess that that's playing a little bit of a part in this decision.
Yeah, but
I bet, hey, stop doing this or we're going to stop subsidizing you.
Yeah, but do you think they're going to shut it off completely? Because like the amount of money that they must gain from firearms retailers has got to be absurd. I mean, it's got to be freaking insane.
I don't know if they will. I think that's why they're keeping. They may shut it down completely for the small guys, but they're going to keep on running the giant contracts, the guys that are shipping 20,000 guns a year.
Yeah.
And that's because there's good money in it, and they don't really believe what they say they do.
Yeah, I don't know. This is privatization of tyranny.
Wow.
Oh. I didn't make that phrase up. I heard it somewhere, so I can't take credit for it.
You have it written down in your notes somewhere? Use this phrase at some point.
I do, actually. I got a whole list of notes from the credit card thing.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I don't know. It's all bullshit. But someone pointed out, well, fuck them. There's always going to be another shipment company that's going to stand up and will take people's money. As long as it's legal to ship firearms, there's going to be someone that'll do it.
I wonder where speedy delivery stands on all this kind of shit.
I don't know.
Are they small time? Are they national?
I think.
Or are they just like a Midwest thing?
I don't know. I've actually got some. I get some deliveries very rarely from them, but I don't know. I have no idea.
Maybe they'll step up and be like, hey, we'll be your heroes.
Damn right.
You hear that, Speedy? This is your opportunity. Seize the carp, Speedy.
But let's say even if UPS and FedEx do shut it down, well, USPS, they'll still ship whatever the fuck I want. To other FFLs at the very least. I'm just not supposed to ship handguns back to customers with USPS. So I don't know. We'll see.
Josh, what do you mean it'll be stupid expensive if only a few will do it?
He means if UPS and FedEx shut theirs down shipping firearms, that the ones that do it are going to be stupid expensive. Or it wouldn't be that bad because there'd be so much business for them.
Yeah.
That demand would be through the roof. So the prices would be, I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Hopefully we don't find out.
Oh, we probably will before long. Ugh. Okay, well, anything else to say on that?
Negatory, Ghost Rider.
No more like clever phrases that you want to close out with?
No, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that phrase, though, in the next segment as well. So just be forewarned.
Okay. Well, in our top topic of the night, final topic of the night, and I'm sure a lot of you listening have already heard about this, that there's been these credit card companies have now accepted this new standard, this new merchant category code, I guess it's called. So when you go to a store and you buy and you pay for something with your credit card. So you go to the grocery store. That grocery store has a merchant category code where it shows up in your bank statement or whatever, where they can categorize it, say this was a grocery store. Of course, it's not all itemized or anything like that. And up to this point, gun stores have always been just like, I think they were categorized as something like general retail or sporting goods or something like that. But there was nothing in there that said a gun store. But now this standards organization created this new code where gun stores have their own merchant category code now. So if you go to the gun store, you buy something with your credit card, doesn't matter what it is. If you make a purchase at that gun store, this credit card company knows that you just made a purchase at this gun store. Like I said, it's not itemized or anything like that. But to me, this seems a lot like, I have a whole pile of notes here, and I can't read through all of them to remember what I was going to go for. But this seems like backdoor registration to me. I mean, we already know that the ATF has already got a fucking registration, but this just seems like a way to bolster it. Because I don't see a way that this can be effectively implemented to prevent anything that they say that it's made to prevent. There was Up to this point, I think there's been 20 million NICS checks in the country so far this year. That's just background checks. So how many more sales are being made at these gun stores that don't involve a NICS check? There's going to be hundreds and hundreds of millions of transactions for these companies to sift through, and then flag them. Be like, ooh, this one looks suspicious. Who's doing that? Who's got the manpower to do that? And of course, it's going to be some kind of bullshit algorithm, and we know how well those fucking work. Sam, you better have something to say here. I'm blanking
now. Yeah, it's junk. It's junk data. People are so excited about this. You know, the gun controllers. Oh yeah, we finally, because people have been pushing for this bullshit for years and years. But they're so excited about this, but it does absolutely nothing, because say someone goes in and say someone comes in here and they do a shitload. I do a shitload of Cerakote work on 4 or 5 of their guns, and the price tag is $3,000. They have absolutely no idea what that $3,000 was. They don't know if they bought a bunch of fucking sweatshirts from me, or ammo and guns, or absolutely anything. They have absolutely no fucking clue. So and the reason like they're pushing for this is because several mass shooters, specifically the Uvalde guy and, you know, a lot of others, have just went and bought all this shit, you know, a week or two in advance, and then end up using them in a mass shooting. Well, they're thinking, well, the credit card company should have caught that and declined that purchase. Well, you dipshits, first off, why would they ever catch that? What makes that purchase suspicious? You know, it doesn't. There's nothing about any purchase at a random ass gun store that is suspicious. Even like, say somebody never buys guns, and then all of a sudden they have one big ass purchase on it. That doesn't mean that it's anything suspicious. That doesn't mean that it's a mass shooter. All that means is this random Joe Smo got excited about guns and went and purchased his first firearms. And there's literally millions and millions of people every single year that do that. And guess how many mass shooters that happens with? Very, 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 very few. So how the fuck they think they're ever going to catch on in any of this is absolutely absurd. But ultimately, that's not why they're doing this. They're saying that's the reason. They're using this nonsense to create, essentially, as Box said, a backdoor registration. But it's not catching just the gun owners. It's just catching people. Hell, if you go to Dick's Sporting Goods and buy a fucking sweatshirt, an Iowa Hawkeyes sweatshirt, you're going to be on their list. It don't mean shit. So say even what's going to happen is the credit card companies, they're going to flag a few purchases here and there. They're going to send the police there. Police are going to go check it out and be like, this is fucking bullshit. Nothing, he didn't do anything wrong. And then guess what's going to happen? They're not going to fucking respond to any of them anymore. But ultimately what they're doing is building a massive database of people that shop at that sort of place that may have guns. Because the 1986 Firearms Owner Protection Act actually made it illegal for the federal government to keep a federal registry of gun owners. But there is no law that says private companies cannot do the same thing. So that is exactly what they're trying to do. And that's exactly why they've been pushing so hard for this. And then, you know, you may say, well, what good is that going to do them? Well, there's no reason that the government can't go to those very people that have built those lists and say, hey, why don't you turn that over? And if the people are anti-gun, if the company's anti-gun, sure, here you go. Or a situation like in California happened a few months ago when their concealed carry weapons holder list got hacked and leaked. And then everybody, like, there's no reason why, oh shit, that got hacked, you know, now the whole entire list is out there. So it's a bad, like, ultimately, like, when you think about it, it doesn't seem like a bad situation until, you know, you actually think about all the ramifications of what could actually occur from this.
All right, there's a big old.
And also the really scary thing is if, say, there's another mass shooting incident, something absolutely horrible. There's no reason why those credit card companies can't be like, well, we're not doing gun purchases anymore. Click, turn that thing off in the emotional, situation. Or there's a massive federal, or there's a massive national national emergency. Oh, sorry. We're going to turn off gun purchases. So I don't know. It's a bad situation all the way around.
Josh made a point in there that I want to come back to a little bit later, but I'm wondering, one thing I was wondering about this, excuse me, was like, what's their threshold of what sets off the alarm, so to speak? Like $500, $1,000, $2,000. Those are all very, I mean, people are spending that kind of money all the fucking time at gun stores. How many of these mass shooters are spending more than $2,000? Not a whole lot. You can go buy a $500 AR and 1,000 rounds of ammo and not setting off any alarms. So what good are they doing? You can go in and buy a scope. The scopes are going to set off all sorts of alarms. The glass is fucking expensive. You go in and buy one scope, they're going to be like, ooh, he spent $8,000. He is suspicious. So I'm curious how they're going to determine which one is suspicious and which one is not. Or even if they're going to attempt to do it, or if they're just going to be like, oh yeah, we promise, we're doing it. Or if they're just, this is all it is using it to build this registry. That point. Yes, go ahead.
Visa has actually came out and said they're against this. They have accepted the new guidelines from the ISO, but they also put out a statement and said they're against this and that it should not be used for any of these purposes or anything that we're talking about. But that doesn't mean diddly shit. They saw their stock price plummet like 5% or something today. So then they put out a statement trying to cover their own ass. Yeah. But yeah, it's ultimately it's going to be used for bad. I think everybody knows that. But at the same time, what is this going to do? People are going to go to the fucking ATM and withdraw money and then go in and buy their gun. Like anyone with a brain that knows this is going on, guess what they're not going to do anymore? Spend credit card money at the gun store. So what does that create? That creates a cash-rich gun environment now. And you can look at say like Oregon or Colorado and see how those like the pot industry. That's mainly, it's very hard for them guys to get credit card merchants so people can use credit cards at their store. So it's mostly a cash industry. So those stores have fuckloads of cash sitting around. Well, what happens? People start breaking into them. There's more crime. Well, the very same thing could very well just start happening with gun stores. But the thing is, they want that to happen. They'd be happy if that happened, because then it looks like the gun industry is worse, Gene says we're looking at adding an ATM machine in store. Absolutely. And I guarantee you, a shitload of gun stores will start doing that. There's no reason not to. It's a win-win fucking situation. They're dealing in cash. They don't got to tell Uncle Sam about it. Like, why the hell not? So, yeah, I don't think they're really thinking this thing all the way through. I think it's going to... they're going to try to use it. They're going to try and use it nefariously, but people are just going to get around it.
I bet they'll get those ATMs, too. It's not like they just plop those things around anywhere. They know where those things are located. They're going to be like, ooh, this ATM is at a gun store. We're going to have to keep track of that one. Maybe, comment.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Josh said earlier. He says, I think it will resurface with the red flag laws If your credit card can trip a red flag, or they have a reason to look at you, they can pull your credit history and see you bought $3,000 from a gun store. They can build a case against you. Right now, we do a NICS check through the FBI, and the ATF only knows about it if you sold 2 or more at a time. So yeah, the red flag laws, I think, are probably going to come into play with this as well. I didn't think about that aspect of it,
Possibly.
but yeah, I that's just about guaranteed going to be used against some people.
It's a definite possibility. But yeah, this is the term I used earlier, privatization of tyranny. That was a term the Washington gun law used on YouTube. I watched his video talking about this, and he's absolutely correct. The government can't get away with this. The government can't get away with tracking our purchases, our spending habits, none of that shit. But when we sign those agreements to credit cards, or we click agree on an app that we download, you can get away with whatever the fuck you want from private companies. Like, as long as you agree to it, it's absurd. And that's exactly what they're going to try and start doing, is just ultimately. And think about it this way. Like, there's no reason why they couldn't shut down gun sales. Say, like I was talking earlier, there was a bad mass shooting and they get all emotional. Oh, we're shutting gun sales off. There's no reason why they couldn't start tracking the amount of gasoline that you buy. You're making all these purchases at a gas station. Well, you're using too much, you're emitting too much carbon. We're going to turn your card off. We're not going to let you use that shit. And granted, that seems absurd right now, but look at how hard they're pushing for electric cars. Like, think of 10 years from now. You think that they won't be going down that road? I guarantee you that they will be. And this is just setting up more of the bullshit, man. So cash is king, I'm telling you. For now, anyways, until they try and do away with that shit too.
I wrote down, when I was taking my notes, I wrote down my bold prediction, which may or may not be so bold, but my prediction is that this simply cannot and will not stop a single shooting, and that it's only going to be used to bolster their already illegal registry that they have already admitted to having, and track and label folks like us as extremists. You'll be like, oh, he spent this much money at a gun store. He is an extremist. He's a crazy asshole. I would agree. That's my bold prediction. What's your bold prediction, Sam?
I mean, I think I would agree with that statement. I don't have a whole lot to add to it, but I would say that that's probably correct, and it's only going to get worse. But I think that the majority of Americans, I would say it's probably a majority of Americans at this point, disagree with their labeling of us as extremists. You guys remember that speech Biden did a couple weeks ago, where he did it in front of the Independence Hall, and it was lit in blood red, and it just was reminiscent of a fucking Mussolini or Nazi or Hitler style speech, when he said, basically claimed that half of the country, the half that didn't support him, were extremists. And well, guess what? Over half of the country, and actually it was something like 70% of Democrats actually agreed that he's doing nothing but dividing the country. It was like 70% of Democrats and like 60-some% of everyone in general agreed. So ultimately, I think the everyday average American understands this shit, but it's that 40% of very loud, vocal, insane lunatics that watch CNN and think Joe Biden's a god, that are buying into this shit, and that will be used to, I'm sure that they think we're extremists. So fuck them. It's only a matter of time until we got to do extremist shit, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, wow. They're going to use that line against you in court, buddy.
Well, fuck them.
Or in Guantanamo, wherever they take you.
Yeah, they would have to fish through. You know how many hours of fucking podcast audio they're going to have to fish through to get that little tidbit right there?
They're going to be like, all right, let's filter out for just the bitching about ATF. Fuck, it's still like 8,000 hours.
Yeah. Plus, but they will also run into like 47,000 other quotes they could use against me. But, whatever. Guys got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, fuck them. You hear that? Fuck you guys.
Just leave us alone. That's all we want. We'll be left alone.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess that's the show, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. Be sure to listen to our entire catalog of podcasts on most major podcast providers and also on our website. If you enjoy what we do and you want to help support the show, check out our Subscribe page for exclusive content and other benefits. If you want to get more involved with the community, join our forum over on lifeshortlivefree.com, where you can also watch this stream. Actually, you can go to our website. You don't have to go on YouTube. You don't have to go on Facebook. You can go straight to our website and watch this live every other Wednesday night right on our website.
And you can comment whatever the fuck you want, and Facebook cannot shut you down.
True.
100%.
True. I mean, Twitch might shut us down, but
that's all right. They won't.
They're not as big assholes as Facebook is. Okay. If you aren't aware, I'm going to repeat myself. Gears and Beers is streamed live every other Wednesday night on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and on our website. We would love for you to come get involved in the conversation. Check out our sponsors, Shyworks at shyworks.com and Facebook, and also Ballistic Imagery at ballisticimagery.com and Facebook. And that's the show, folks. That's all we have for you. Take it away, Sam.
Guys, thank you for commenting. Thank you for everyone that hung out. Nick, Gene, Josh, Revendy, if that's how you pronounce that, Cliff. Guys, it's always so much appreciated when you guys get in and you comment. We always really enjoy that. It makes the show a lot more fun for everyone. So Gene says, now that it's winding down, Box is loosening up. I know, right? He just needs to start drinking earlier in the day, maybe.
I just didn't have much to say about the earlier subjects. Right. God damn it!
All right, fair enough. All right, guys, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Until then, remember: life short, live free. God bless. God bless the United States of America. Good night, guys.
And defund the ATF and fuck you.
Repeal the